What's up, y'all? It's Daniel the Shoemmelier. If you've been keeping track of social media or the internet in general, you may have noticed the current trend of looking back to the year 2016. It has folks posting photos of what they were doing, what they were wearing 10 years ago. And it's also having them reminisce and revisit all the trends that had us in a stranglehold, whether it was pop culture, music, movies, artists, celebrity, fashion, fits, and in this case, for this channel, for this video, the sneakers of 2016. I thought it would be fun to take a look back with my 2026 eyes, my 2026 opinions, my 2026 lived experiences, to look back at the sneakers that came out in 2016 or 2016 in the correct tense and say, I like those now, or I don't like those now, or what do I think were the best, maybe my favorite sneakers released in the year 2016. So that's what this video is going to be. I'm going to talk about my 16 favorite sneaker releases from the year 2016. No order, just a hodgepodge, a random list of 16 sneakers that I would say, as of today, in the year 2026, are my favorite releases from the year 2016. Let's get to it. Now, if you weren't alive or into sneakers in 2016, or you're a reseller that really didn't care about what was going on and care more about what's going on now, some of these shoes may surprise you, especially when I talk about the certain brands. This is a list of 16 shoes, and it's crazy because it is heavily dominated by a certain brand, which may not surprise some of you, but for you youngsters, the brand in question will actually surprise you. But first, let's start off with this first shoe on my 16 favorite sneakers of 2016. It's the Air Jordan 11 Retro Space Jam. That's right, the Space Jam. The Jordan 11 is my favorite Jordan of all time, and the Space Jam is one of, if not top 3 favorite Jordan 11s of all time. It came out in 2011. It was a retro. It was fantastic. It's still fantastic. It's still awesome. It had all of the great packaging that we don't get today, but your boy has it. It's not here. It's back at the ranch with my other sneakers, but definitely one of my favorite sneakers released in the year 2016. My second shoe, and this is where the fun begins, the Adidas NMD R1. Now, for the purposes of this video, we will just talk about the OG, the black with the red and blue plugs. And if you weren't around sneakers in that 2014 to 2018, maybe 19 range when Boost was all of the rage, Boost is life, it was a different time for sneakers. Yes, a certain artist, curator, influencer, designer was affiliated with Adidas at the time. And yes, the explosion of Boost has a lot to do with him. But just the amount of collaborations, the amount of colorways, and some would say oversaturation of Boost technology, which led to probably not the demise, but the cooling of how hot Boost was. Man, that OG Adidas NMD R1, that black, red, and blue, whew, boy. Yeah, that was one of the hottest sneakers of that era, and you can't mention a best of without mentioning that shoe. And sticking with the Adidas family, because can you sense what's going to happen on this list? The Adidas Ultra Boost Triple White colorway. Now, I may be mistaken, but I believe it was the triple white colorway worn by Kanye West on stage that caused a huge rush to people going out to get the triple white Ultra Boost. Now, the Ultra Boost, one of the most, if not the most comfortable sneakers on the market. Initially, the technology was used for runners for the energy boost, but man, once they put it on that Ultra Boost with that slick design and that comfortable feeling and the upper and prime knit upper, and boy, you had a grand slam of a Hail Mary touchdown of a 3-point slam dunk of a sneaker in silhouette. Still one of the greatest silhouettes of all time. The Adidas Ultra Boost, one of the top 16 sneakers released in 2016. I've already mentioned Adidas, and I've already mentioned the NMD, but here's a different silhouette that really you don't see much. I haven't seen it in years. It's the Adidas NMD City Sock. And that was a shoe that sounds exactly like what you think. It was a sock shoe made out of that prime knit upper. There was no laces. You just slipped it on. And boy, that was my favorite traveling shoe. At the time, I wasn't part of TSA pre-check. So I had to take my sneakers off. And always traveled with a city sock because easy on, easy off. Whatever colorway you decide, some people like the black with the white piping, others, the OG would be the white with the black stitching. Yeah, another great silhouette in the year 2016 and another Adidas silhouette. Yeah, that's right. Adidas is dominating this list. My fifth sneaker from 2016 is the Adidas and Pharrell Williams Human Race. That's right. Adidas and Pharrell have been creating banger of shoes for over 10 years now, and this was one of my favorite Adidas Boost NMD silhouettes. Just the way the laces worked, it was still kind of sock-ish. It had laces, but you really didn't need them, and if you were like me, you figured out a way to hype beast lace them because they used to come with 2 sets of laces, and I figured out a way that the front had one side and the back had another. I loved that shoe. And initially it had come out in, I believe, a green, a yellow, a red, maybe other colorways. There was that black, friends and family, just crazy. You don't understand the stranglehold Boost NMD Pharrell had Human Race on Sneaker Folk in 2016. That's why it's on this list. You may think other colorways, but I believe this is sort of that first entry of the Human Race NMD by Pharrell Williams, and just talk about just a debut of that technology and that silhouette and all that stuff. That's why it's on the list. Let's slow things down a little. Let's go back to the swoosh. Let's go back to Jordan Brand for the Air Jordan 12 Flu Game. Now, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have cared. I admit it. I was not really into a lot of Jordans back in the day. I didn't find them comfortable. I still don't find them terribly comfortable, but I figured out ways to wear them to make them more comfortable for me. And I think also there's coming into your own as a person, into your style and whatever. And for a while, I just was so anti-high top. I did not feel I looked good in them. I didn't like my chicken legs, how they worked with high tops. And I haven't gained that much weight in 10 years. I'm not that much bigger. I'm still kind of a small guy, skinny wise. I'm tall enough, but I feel more confident in my skin enough to wear a high top. So now I would believe the Air Jordan 12 Flu Game is one of the best sneakers released. One of my favorite and best from 2016. All right, let's take it back to Adidas. We've talked about sort of these OGs of the NMDs, of the Boosts. Yes, Pharrell Williams is a collaboration, but now let's talk a little bit more about some of the other collaborations that took the sneaker world, the Adidas, the Ultra Boost, or the Boost world by storm. And let's talk about one of the greatest Boost Adidas shoes. It's the Solebox and Adidas Ultra Boost Uncaged. Top 5 Boost shoe of all time. Top 5, I don't want to say Adidas of all time because that's really tough, but definitely probably a top 5 Ultra Boost of all time. I cannot be certain if that was the first uncaged Ultra Boost. If it wasn't, it's certainly one of the first best. I'm not certain. I still don't have that shoe. It's on my to-buy list. I'm not really sure how the Boost would be after 10 years. Would it crack? Would it snap? Would it pop? Yep, set it out of order. I'm not sure. But regardless, one of the greatest Boost shoes of all time, and definitely one of the top and favorite sneakers released in 2016. The 8th sneaker, halfway through, another Adidas banger, the Nice Kicks in Adidas NMD PK Prime Knit. This is the one that started all of the tie-dye collaborations that you saw with Nice Kicks in Adidas and their Boost shoes. They did it with Ultra Boost. They had it with the NMD. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 of these collaborations. They did use the 4D. They did a black and white tie-dye. But regardless, this is also one of the top 5 Adidas Boost shoes released ever. It is still goes for a lot of money on resale sites, and it is killer. It is fantastic. Definitely one of those that immediately I had to write down as I put this list together, but one of the top 16 for sure from the year 2016. Yes, still Adidas, but a different collaborator. I'm not going to say this collaborator is like underground, isn't mainstream. Like this collaborator is a big deal. But maybe it's the price of his shoes with Adidas that make people kind of standoffish. But regardless, the Y3 collaboration, some of my favorite collaborations, that is how I got really into the craziness of Adidas, was the initial, the Casa, the QASA, the moon shoes as I call them. They're just so freakishly awesome. I love them. And anytime I see some Y3 collabs, I have to pause and wait for that price to drop just a little bit. But the Y3 Pure Boost ZG Knit, white, black, gray, just a very clean shoe. utilizing that boost technology and a different look. Y3 was very different from the Pharrells, from the Yeezys, from any other collaborations that were taking place. And it was always fun to see the different collaborators that were doing their thing with Adidas and Boost. It was the hottest shoes of the time, and this was one of them, and remains one of them. I think this is one of those resale shoes that is just crazy, crazy on resale sites. I never had it. Always wanted it. May never get it. Our 10th entry in the top 16 or favorite 16 releases of 2016, a bathing ape in Adidas NMD R1 olive camo. One of those that I saw, I was like, that's cool. I really wasn't into it back then. I am more into it now. And this may be one of those picks that's more of a tip of the hat to just how important that shoe was to sneakers and fashion and streetwear and all of that in 2016. Bape has cooled off since 2016. It was hotter in 2016. I'm not sure in the ratio or in the rankings or the timeline where it was peak, but 2016 was pretty peak, especially the collaboration with them and Adidas on this NMD. And it's a great looking shoe. It has oftentimes been replicated of sorts over the years on different Adidas silhouettes and with varied returns on it. But I think maybe this would be the peak. A collaboration with the two. You would have to let me know in the comment section. Is this the greatest Bape? Some would say no. Some would say no. I'm not sure. But what do you think? Where does this Bape and Adidas NMD R1 collab rank in the collaborations between the two groups? And we're back to Jordan for the Air Jordan 1 Retro High OG band colorway, or the bread, or whatever you want to say. It was released in 2016. I have this pair. It's a good pair. Feels nice. I believe that it is a style. It is the fit that a lot of people prefer to the 85 fit that has kind of hit us the last few years. But it's a good, solid Jordan. It is. Some might say, it's just another black and red Jordan. Yeah, kind of. You kind of love it. Some people don't. I didn't used to. Again, because of the high tops, but also because I was like, it's just another black and red Jordan. But over time, I have come around to it. It's not my favorite Air Jordan 1, Chicago type colorway. I definitely prefer the black toe, which also released in 2016, which is not on this list. Maybe it's a tie. Maybe they both inhabit this spot. Maybe we have the black toe and the band colorway with the band slightly below the black toe. But regardless, one of the top 16 released in 2016. You knew I couldn't have a list mentioning the best top favorite sneakers of 2016 without mentioning Kanye West. Yes, at the time he was Kanye West, and the company was Yeezy with Adidas. And if you go back to the beginning of my channel, which I didn't start until 2017, you will see just how many Yeezys I was into, how many Yeezys I owned. And I had a lot of 350s, 350 V2s, 700s, like all of I loved it. It was comfortable. It was stylish. I wasn't one of those, however, that thought Kanye West discovered and made Adidas, because that's just childish and stupid, and Adidas still exists with or without him. But regardless, I was a big fan of the shoes. And after a while, you kind of get tired of them. I had so many that I started getting rid of them, and I sold at the right time. I sold a great amount of Yeezys because I wanted to buy the Union Jordan 1s, and I sold, I'd probably say 15 to 18 pairs of Yeezys to get both of those Jordan 1s at the time. But regardless, the Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 V2 Beluga, that came out in the later half of 2016. It is an ugly shoe, but it's a good ugly. Like it's groundbreaking in a lot of ways, and it's so stylish, and it can be made into a slip-on. Like, it really, really is a shame, number one, that like any sneaker company, they just oversaturated with so many 350 V2 colorways. But it's also a shame that things happened the way they did with Ye. That makes it very difficult for some of us to want to wear Yeezys. I am still on the not so sure I can do it. And maybe in a future video, the question is asked, when will it be okay? Is it ever okay? Does he need to no longer be on this earth for it to be okay? I am feeling more positive about coming around to wearing Yeezys again than I did. So at my lowest, but I still not the point where it's tipping the scales. But regardless, the Beluga, I think the strapless, the back tab without the back tab, 350 V2 is the way to go. I'm not going to hate on the back tab, but I think no back tab is the way to go. But yeah, that Beluga, whew, it was a home run right out of the gate. Let's stick with Kanye West. Let's stick with Yeezy. The Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 V2 Black Friday pack. All three of them. We're going to put them together. I know that makes my list like, well, there should be like 19. That's fine. They released, you had the copper, you had the green, you had the red. I would say my favorite was green, then red, then copper. But a Black Friday pack, I remember where I was on Black Friday trying to get them, and I didn't get any of them. That was a story of my life trying to get Yeezys. Everybody wanted them, and Adidas didn't make enough of them, just like they don't make enough of whatever hot shoes there are. You can't make enough. That's just the reality of the way things went. And so, no back tab, pretty much a black shoe with that color, with that David Bowie inspired stripe. Oh, those were great. It's just so horrible. As I was going back and looking over and just like, I really, really, really love those shoes. Love that silhouette. If there was a way for Adidas to redo them, without, I don't know. This video it's not tipping the scale. All right. I'm not all of a sudden going to start buying and wearing Yeezys again, but talking about this, reminiscing, it's the nostalgia. It's the nostalgia because they were so comfortable. Just slip them on. Anyway, the Black Friday pack. And then we close out the Adidas Yeezy Boost portion with the 352 Oreo, my absolute favorite Yeezy that released in 2016. Now, some will try to say the 350 released in 2016, but it initially came out in 2015. But the Oreo, the black and white, that's the one. That was the one until they came out with the bread colorway. That was absolutely the one. The Oreo, man, I'm sure I made a video on that one, but I loved that one. That one would be my favorite Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 V2 at least that released in 2016. But look at that. We have 3 entries, 5 sneakers when you really think about it. But you can't mention sneakers of 2016 without, mentioning Kanye West and Adidas and Yeezy Boost. And then the last Adidas entry in this heavily Adidas dominated list, it's the Kith and Adidas Ultra Boost Mid Aspen. This is one of the top 5 Adidas Ultra Boost colorways, silhouettes, whatever that came out. If I remember correctly, it was the first Ultra Boost Mid, I believe. And it is, I have this one, I have the 4D. They're both bangers. They're both fantastic. They hold up really, really well. The price has dropped over the years. The hype has died down just a little bit, but man, oh boy, is this one like instantly like one of the top 5 Ultra Boosts. If you add the Yeezys into it, it gets a little more complicated, but if it's a separate animal, it's just, but even if it isn't, it's still one of, is it the best Ultra Boost that's ever released? It might be. It is top 3 for me. Don't ask me to mention the other 3. Solebox probably is in there. Oh my God. If I had to say top 5 boosts, Aspen, Solebox, that Nice Kicks NMD R1 PK is pretty nice. Pretty nice. But when you start, if you like start, zooming in and saying only Ultra Boost, well, then it gets a little easier. But that Aspen, top 3, if not the number 1 best boost related shoe ever released. But anyway, that's the last Adidas entry release for 2016. So I'll be nice and we'll close the list with a Nike shoe. The 16th shoe in my list of my favorite 16 sneakers released in 2016, the Nike Air Force 1 Low Linen, which was a Kith exclusive. Now, your boy, I'm not going to front. I was not aware of this shoe. It was not in my headspace. It was not in my field of vision. It was not something I needed to have or wanted to have or cared to have. It was through my affiliation with the Kickin' It crew and their love of Air Force Ones that I was educated to a lot of different colorways, silhouettes, collaborations that I go, oh, that's a good looking shoe. I'd see it online, looks great. I'd see in person and I go, that's a great shoe. And then when they re-released it 1 or 2 years ago and I was like, oh, I get it now. And it is definitely one of the best sneakers, one of my favorite, one of the top sneakers released in 2016 to this day. And then the retro, the re-release, not bad at all. And there you have it, my list of my favorite, you can say top best, 16 sneakers released in the year 2016. We jumped on this trend. Will I do a video every year where I look back 10 years? I don't know. At some point, you're just like, I can't mention, I won't want to mention Travis Scott's because I don't think they're some of the best sneakers released. There are some that I like. But regardless, this is my list. These are my thoughts. I would be curious what you think, not only about my list, but your own personal list. What did I miss? I missed a lot. And I looked at them and I know a lot of people may think, why didn't I put the Presto acronyms on there, right? I get that. Why didn't I put more Nikes on there? Why didn't I put some of these Vans? I totally get it. But this is my 2026 eyes, my 2026 opinions, and I'll be really honest with you, I didn't care about the Vans in 2016. I didn't care about the Presto acronyms in 2016. It's just a silhouette that I don't like. So let me know what I missed. Let me know what shouldn't be on this list. Let's talk about it in the comments. I want to know what you think. Were you around in 2016? Were you into sneakers? Were you just getting in there? Are you a reseller? Because I think an opinion of a reseller is going to be very different. I bet my list is way more in line with the reseller list. I totally get it. I liked those shoes. I was not a reseller. I'm not a reseller. Do I resell shoes? Yes, but I do not make a living on that. It's like, I guess I'll sell this shoe. But all of these would be considered hyped shoes in 2016. That's right. All of these would just be like, holy cow. Holy cow. It was a different time. Pre-COVID, pre-stimmy, even post, it was just this wild, 6 years. We want to give Adidas 4 to 6 years. Man, what a run. And I loved every bit of it. I was always into comfort and I was always into being stylish. And look, let's give credit. The designers at Adidas and Kanye West created shoes that didn't look like other shoes out there. And we were all better for it. So let me know what you think about this list and your own personal list in the comment section down below. So to all of you out there, wherever you are, thanks for watching. Stay tuned and just chill till the next episode.